Okay, so you should be looking at the Nifty screens on your chart, and we have 1 year over of Modi's government today. A lot of news on the TV, as you must be watching, and of course, as usual, a lot of debate. The opposition says they're a mess. They are, of course, claiming they've done something great, but some really good, incisive programming that's there on TV, on CNN, IBN, India Today, and all. A lot of focus on the Land Acquisition Act and how it seems to have really stopped a lot of development across India. I was really surprised to find out, just watched CNN IBN report saying that the biggest acquisition after the 2013 bill that was passed by UPA, that there's been only one successful project of 3,000 acres acquisition in Maharashtra. Everything else has been basically log jammed. The prime case being Mamata Banerjee's thing in Singur, Tata's, and really no progress has happened. So the big question that's being asked is how do we resolve this logjam? There have been a few successful stories in a few states, but majority, and the vast majority, is really sad. If you do get a chance to watch it, I'm not sure what the name of the program is. Plus, please have a look. It was on CNN IBN at about 12 to 1, I think, and put out a pretty grim picture about not only that, but also the state of farmers and why they're protesting, and why some farmers are happy because the rains are bad, uh, and how they're not making money. So it's a multi factorial program which is talking about what do we say? Some of the many challenges that are facing this country, and yep, it'll be worth watching. So definitely some tough times ahead. The land bill has not yet been passed, so more things to come. And then the other big news that I came across was Greece finally says that they cannot afford IMF repayments. Not sure how that is panning out. Any idea how the European markets have opened? Just let's see if we can bring that up quickly. Uh, so that's one big thing. Uh, Finally, I think the numbers just caught up. It'll be interesting to see what happens from here on. Does Greece exit? How do these global institutions manage this, etc.? And of course, I think the other big news that we should add is Yellen finally said that interest rates may rise this year. Right? Finally, of course, he said may, so that's one thing we can never be sure about how that pans out, but at least the statement has been made. So that could have a dampener on the markets. So, well, is there any other news that anybody is aware of? Then do bring it up. Uh, how is Europe opening? It's not updating on my side. Anyone knows how Europe has opened? Okay, finally came. So FTSE up 0.26%, DAX down 0.4%, CAC down 0.6%, and Euro stocks 0.06, but that was yesterday. So something on Yahoo Finance not updating fully. Okay. Okay, so that's the overall picture. Coming to India's markets, of course, after a long time we are doing a sort of live IMR, and as we all know, the Nifty is now down 71 points as we speak. It was down about 85 points. Had been flat about 30-40 points down till about 12:30, and after that it just fell about another 40 points down, doing a slight recovery, but really not much to say about it. There are, as of now, on the Nifty, 36 stocks declining, 40 stocks going up, and back the highest gainer in the Nifty is Bank of Baroda, and then Lupin and Bharti approximately all 2% up, and the biggest drags are Ambuja and ITC, almost both 3% down. And then we've got Tech Mahindra, HDFC, Vedanta, about 2.5% down, right? Okay, so which lines up with something I wanted to illustrate right off on the uh, Nifty that I want to show, and I think that's perhaps best illustrated with a simple candlestick chart in which I'm going to move to weekly, and I think some of us will recognize this instantly. And what we have here is this pattern, okay, and this would be a weekly head and shoulder chart, and we have broken the neckline, and then we have now sort of bounced up a little bit, and if there's any debate, then we can have this also, right? Though strictly speaking, I think that's the neckline above. So if this is the neckline, or the out lower one is a support or resistance level, that's one level, and then of course I think this is another level to consider. So remember please that this is a weekly chart. It's very important to keep this time thing in perspective. And as of now, so we're starting a fresh week. You could put this downtrend as the outermost sort of downtrend line, and that's where we are. So even if we did go up, there was a downtrend line to deal with. So what would be the measuring implication of this? So if you go from the top at around say 9,000 and drop it till even conservatively there, we're talking about 700-point drop uh, from, let's say, the breakdown level here of 84. So we're talking about 7,400. Now one of the things I want to point out here is the fact that this weekly head and shoulders top has formed from October of last year. So we're talking about October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March, April. So you're talking about a good 7-8 months that this has taken to form, and so 7,400 should not be expected in a week or two or all of that. It could take a month or two for it to actually come down to 7,400. Okay, so we'll just have to wait. So we're talking about end of May, literally. This is expiry week also, remember that. So who knows, June, July, monsoons are not good, Greece collapses, the 1 year honeymoon of Modi government is over. People start asking tougher questions. Logjam in the Rajya Sabha with land bill not being passed because BJP doesn't have a majority, etc., etc. So there are a lot of things that could change. That will change, of course, and we'll just have to keep a track on that. Okay. So in this context, I just wanted to lay this out right up front. And when we come back to our daily chart, this is the, you can't see it so clearly, of course, too many lines. Okay, let me just remove some of them. uh, we had this down move start March of this year when the Nifty hit 9,000, and then notice this up move that's been there for the last 2 weeks after doing a lot of dance and drama around the 200-day moving average. We also had the head and shoulder bottom here. Okay, so, and there was, I think, some amount of talk about it in the reports, in the media, and all. But you know what? There was a downtrend line that you had to contend with. Around 8,500 was the limits there, and on top of that, this whole thing was happening on lower volumes. So this up move was definitely not healthy. Something I think we did mention in the previous IMR. Please have a look at the recording. So the question that we are asking is: are we in a bull trap? Has the market gone up and then we are actually being sort of sold off again? And is today, as we know, we are now down 71 points as we speak. is the market now in correction, right? Obviously, we are in lower tops, lower bottoms. Is everybody knows that, and it'll be interesting to see where this goes back down to. So there are levels to watch out for: 8300, then 8200 to 200-day moving average, of course, 8000 where it bounced off from with a nice spinning top. But once that goes, clearly in the intermediate sense, we have a lower top, lower bottom formation, right? So I think it's very clear we should be using the rises to sell rather than to enter any fresh long positions. And if you are doing any fresh long, then it should be for a very limited amount of time. Okay. So this is the uh, Nifty, and that I think sets the mood for the overall market. Okay. If anybody has any comments or suggestions, please do um, add. On top of that, I'd just like to also add that well, there's nothing really positive that I can foresee or I'm aware about on the political side or on the fundamental side. There have been talks. There's a lot of talk about how the EPS growth in the last quarter, so the annual results are more or less over, has not been really up to the mark, and that there are actually a lot of challenges to further growth going ahead. So a lot of economic fundamental challenges do remain. So nothing very bullish is what I would say, and I would say my expectation would be at best. Um, okay, so let me put this down. We have uh, on weekly charts 7 month head and shoulder top on Nifty, neckline broken and being tested from below as resistance, target 7,400 next 1 to 3 months. Okay, so this whole time frame thing is, I think, what we really need to be careful about. Okay, uh, so opinion: sell into rallies, positional short for next few weeks, especially after May expiry is over. Yeah, if Sid was here, I think what he would have loved to do is maybe you can look at a bearish spread.
Musa, no, the target is 77, no, not 7774. It is 8,400 minus 700 points.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Thank you for that. 7,000.
And also, we have corporate results, and this week there are some, I think, 20% of the Nifty stocks results are coming this week. Last week.
Okay. Any major ones? Any idea?
I'll tell you. Tata Motors, Tech Mahindra, HPCL, BHEL, all the Reliance Power, all those Reliance Group companies.
Okay.
GAIL, Industry, Reliance Infra, ONGC, NTPC, Coal India, Power Grid, PFC.
Okay.
NMDC, L&T,
okay.
Sun Pharma, M&M.
Okay.
So
okay.
I think
some quite a
lot of
big ones.
Yeah, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's the last week of the result.
Yeah, got it. All right. Okay. So let me just redraw this. Thank you for that correction, Balki. I don't know where my head is. So 7-7, which brings it basically in line with one of a sort of important previous high, life high, which was in June, July of last year, right? So could this happen? Let me just giving perspective in the last from the charts behavior in the past. We have the whole of March where the market fell from 8.9 to 8.3, so that's 600 points. And then in April, In 3 weeks, it fell from 88 to 82, so that's another 600 points. So let's say this is another correction from here. If you're talking about 600 points, you're talking about 85 to about 79 then, right? So slightly around there, that could happen. Another 1 or 2 weeks, who knows? So things get bad over. So could happen. Maybe not even 1 2 months, 3 months. It could happen in 2 3 weeks or 4 weeks. We'll have to wait and watch. And of course, depend. One of the factors will definitely be how the monsoon is panning out. Right? Great. Thank you so much for that, Balki. Any other observations? Okay. So let's move on. All right. So starting with the sector indices that we have, we look at. So we have the auto index here. What happened to this indicator? Okay, fantastic. So auto index, so M&M Tata Motor results coming out in the coming week. You can see that more or less that this is range bound at this point, right? Had a positive divergence which has played out well so far, but I think till this event risks are out, will be difficult to say what the positional size of it is. By the way, on Mahindra and Mahindra, just to they have a joint venture tie-up now with a Japanese agricultural manufacturer and agricultural equipment manufacturer, sorry, specialized machines for agriculture, and they have Mahindra has bought a 33% stake in that. This was actually not on Indian news. I saw this on NHK Japan. It was big news there, that on the business channel, saying Mahindra had bought into that, and they were very positive. The Japanese were concerned that with reducing agriculture, reducing people in agriculture in Japan, that was a company that was struggling to do well in Japan, and they wanted to look at export, but they don't have a export capability in terms of offices, expertise, people. So for them, it's a win-win situation in terms of getting international exposure through M&M's very impressive global network, while M&M gets access to these very not advanced but specialist machines for various different things. So M&M, well, maybe the story of what's happening in agriculture, specialization, concentration, and now machinery also needs to get sort of focused on that. So that's on M&M. So auto range bound. Consumer durables, we usually don't do much, but that's clearly also range bound from February, you can see. Okay, and then we have capital goods. So L&T's results, we have to await that to see how that works. But this level of 16,800 has been a very important level for since 2011, and it's just a question of how this now moves up. Oh yeah, I completely forgot. I think on June 2nd is RBI policy. So it'd be really important to see how that happens. So uh, if interest rates come down, then this could be good for all the sectors. You do have um, this 200-day moving average support here. Indicators all supporting strength now. So even if I were to sort of put a trend line on MACD, you can see that it's now just being broken. So we may be getting into a sustainable up move, but just to wait and watch. Okay. 17,000 is going to be a big critical thing. I don't know how it's panning out today, but I very much doubt whether uh, it's going to be really good. Let me see if I can get it on NSC. Okay, so you can very quickly see here that NSC, uh, where is that? More overall, you can see that they're all negative. Auto is the only one CPSE index, and a little bit on the media and PSEs. But everything else, and of course the inverse index, which we will say, I think we should have a discussion on that at some point in the future, is all really weak, right? So we are looking at weakness across all sectors. Nothing great, but 0.4 to 1.5%. Okay. Why is it not going? All right. So that is capital goods at a very, very critical juncture. And if I actually extend this, then that is a level it is going to have to deal with in the future, even if it does come up. FMCG also saw weakness. 200. A lot of stocks, very interestingly, just like the Nifty, poised at on the one side, lower side, 200-day moving average, and on the upper side, the 50 and the 100-day moving average stuck there. So range bound within that. Then also note again and again in FMCG this downtrend line from February, April, and still persistent downtrend. Let me take that out. I think I've done extend right on this. Okay, let me. So again, you can see the head and shoulder here, right? Left shoulder, big head, right shoulder didn't break down, has been going up, but it could, break down. And if it does that, once this level of 7,650 on FMCG breaks, then I think easily 7,000 on FMCG is quite possible. Healthcare going up, so Sun Pharma results on the horizon, we'll have to wait, but at an important resistance level of 17,200, and pharma has so CNX Pharma is, what is it doing right now? It's 0.3% down at 12,650. So this is of course healthcare pharma. This is BSE index of the CNX index. So that's also a little weak. And then BSE metals clearly not doing well at all, and the CNX metal index is 1.5% down, so would have probably broken this support line, which means is it going to go back to maybe 9,500 or even 9,200? Who knows? That will be interesting to watch, right? And then we have the mid cap index, that's also weak. PSUs, okay, so those are showing some strength. There's some talk about some divestment, I think yesterday by Jaitley. I'm not sure that that was in reaction to that, or I think not yesterday, day before yesterday. Some strong disinvestment expected in the PSU side. But again, these are filled green candles. You have a double bottom at 7,400. You have a clear downtrend line from February again, and anything going up above that, close to that, should be used as a shorting opportunity rather than a, I think, going long opportunity. Just keep the bigger picture in mind. Then we have small cap, sort of sideways, nothing much. Bank Nifty. So Bank Nifty, interesting is it came, broke down this support level at 18,600, fell to about 17,700, bounced off the 200-day moving average, has gone back up to 18,600, and the question is what does it do with that resistance line, right? So the Bank Nifty today down as we speak around at around 18,000, 0.4% down at around 18,350. So, right. So 18,350 definitely took resistance there, and again you have the 200, you have the 100 and the 50-day moving averages all there. So it's a very iffy wait and watch type situation. But I think if you just to remind us, I think my at least my overall bias is neutral to negative. BSC power. mm, More or less range bound in the last since May to now, 1 year over, not much of a move, 10-20% move the whole year. So really not much in terms of reforms have happened, not much in terms of um, real sustainable moves have happened either which way. So at best you could say this is consolidation on a sector level, and we'll have to wait for some sort of breakout or breakdown to happen to make a call on this from a long-term perspective. At this point, until it breaks 2025, really nothing more that we can say. Okay. Okay. Then we have. So, by the way, this is not a head and shoulder, in case anybody is thinking about that, because you really do not have a prior up or down move which is of any substance. Then BSC reality. Uh, so in an earlier IMR, we spoke about a downtrend flag. So what's happened to reality now? I'm looking at. We don't have reality in Nifty NSE, but the closest we have is at infra, and that's down 0.42%. All right. So I think 1400 on reality is a possibility that should not be ignored, especially if the overall market collapses or falls, or let's say the interest rates cut doesn't happen on 2nd of June, then there'll probably be a lot of disappointment in the markets, and you never know. Uh, Rajan might take that view simply from trying to keep the. So one of the things we also have, of course, is the rupee, depreciating a bit. We should add that here. Uh, right, it's firmly below or greater than 64 rupees. No sign of it going back. Might head to 65, 66. So there'll be the challenge of defending the rupee unless RBI decides that let it fall. So we'll have to see what Rajan says. A lot of ifs coming up. Given that Yellen has indicated US interest rates might increase, then you don't want to be in a situation where our country is unattractive and people start pulling money out. And one of the things, as far as debt is concerned, is to have higher interest rates. CNX IT been rising all through the week quite impressively. As a matter of fact, everything really showing a lot of strength. Sort of saucer rounding formation, uh, and this is probably on account of our rupee depreciation, I would think, and maybe this is the only sector which you could look at going long on. And I say this from two reasons. One, you might be seeing a lot of, not a lot, but there is talk about layoffs in the IT sector, which, as far as the bottom line of the companies are concerned, is good. That's one. The second thing is rupee gets weaker, it becomes easier to pitch Indian services. It's cheaper in dollar terms. And if the US is improving in terms of economy, then overall maybe good for IT. So from a positional perspective, IT good, right? So IT a good positional buy, right? For various reasons. Mid cap or Nifty Junior, as you can very clearly see, all sideways, really nothing much happening. Until it breaks 20,500, I don't think there's anything much we can do about it. Energy, triple bottoms, quadruple bottoms, quintuple bottoms, I don't know, at 8,300. And really a question of what we do here on. I think it's a question of wait and watch. There were the results of MRPL today, and profits gone up from 100 plus percent. The stocks jumped 12%. Not sure whether that's an indication of things to come on other oil and gas stocks, but I think Balki mentioned ONGC or something is going to come out with results. So that might be good, especially since if you remember the subsidy cap has been lifted. Right? Subsidy burden has been lifted both on ONGC and Oil India Limited, and that might be something to watch out for. Then we have So might be a good buy. Let me put that there. Oil and gas multi-bottom at around 8100. Right. Infra, CNX infra. Well, as you can see, very, this is reminded when I see a chart like this about Kumbhakarna. So, why do I say that? Because last year, around the same time, we were at 1900. This is now at 3300. That's almost 100% up rating of the infra space. After, again, notice this whole thing being range bound for 2012, 2013 for 2 years, doing nothing, almost 400, 20% move, and then it just moves to the next level, and it's a sort of ladder type move, if you can imagine. So I think maybe anything lower at around 3000 good buy for infra, and once it breaks 35, then I think it'll very quickly go to 38. Having said that, if it breaks 3000 and the markets become weak for whatever reason, then we could easily fall to 2600. So that's about almost 300-400 points either side from the current levels that we're looking at, and that's a good 10% plus moves from here. And this could again maybe interest rate cuts, or really some reforms by the government, or land reform, or GST. I don't know. I think both politically, fundamentally, technically, we seem to be at a sort of crossroad, and any one or two of those issues resolving in a clear direction, either the government gets more stuck and it's only talk and Achedin is really at the ground level very far away, or we actually see some ground level reform. The market could, I think, easily re-rate by 10 to 15%, either which way. So just have to wait and watch. No way to take a call on it. CNX Pharma going back up. Very interesting. So we had this window here, which I think is closed. Yep, it's absolutely closed. The window is now closed. Okay, so this gap down. And again, pharma would be good from that um, rupee depreciation perspective, and we'll have to see how that pans out. PSU banks. Very interesting about. Actually, I should do this after the bank nifty. So we saw the bank nifty sort of flat, but PSU banks, a lot of volatility. Looks like moved up, broke out through this downtrend line, but again, you've got this big candle on Friday, long upper shadow, huge amount of selling that's going on. Not sure what that's all about, but something to keep a tab on. Having said that, interesting. All right, so on the weekly chart, there's really okay, where did this close? 3381. This closed at 3291. Uh, this is 37.2. This is 37.8. Not much, but maybe just a hint or tinge of a bullish divergence on PSU banks. So if I come back to weekly, the reason I was looking at that is quite you can't really see that divergence so much maybe on a daily chart right here versus this, and this could have been deceptive, but on the weekly chart I think it's there, and the MACD is clearly trending up and just at the zero level, right? -2 actually, and if that can persist, then we might have some sort of up move that's cooking. So this is really interesting. On the overall Nifty, we're looking at perhaps a 700 point fall, but on PSU banks, on IT, we are looking at some sort of potential strength. So again, looks like a pretty divided market, which is going to be tough one for traders. When you have it's much easier to trade when all, or not all, but at least the major sectors are all aligned with each other. That of course doesn't happen very often, but when that does, one should take full advantage of it. At this point, it seems like a very iffy sort of trade. And as far as the banks are concerned, I think it's just to was to wait for 2nd of June and then take it from there. Okay. All right. So that's it, right? And yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to alphabetically start in terms of sectors, and we will start with the auto index. And there we have Bajaj first. Oh, so where did that go? One sec. Okay. So let's just look at auto again, and as we said, auto, range bound. M&M results out, but till it moves either up 20,000, out above 20,000 or below 18,500, it's going to be difficult to actually say which direction is going to go in the long term. Having said that, let's now go into individual stocks. So Bajaj Auto, right? So I'm not. I think it was results. And remember one thing, we are talking about Bajaj Auto for a long time, at least I think few IMRs now, is this bullish divergence which was there, and this bullish divergence is something we were speaking about even before this up move happened in early May, and then it has just continued up in another massive up move on 21st on excellent volumes for many months. Just about talking about what do we say, long term positional type uh, divergences, which if one traded carefully, you're looking at this stock going from 1950 or even let's say 2000 to 2300, which is a, a terrific move by any standards, right? So no question about, I think, you see stuff like this, then any doubt that does technical analysis work or not, I think gets laid to rest, because just on a spot basis you're talking about a 15% move. And this brings us to, I think, one more important point, that you can have the market almost in any phase, but you will find stocks that could really outperform, and it's really a question of our own approach in finding the stock specific opportunities. And I would definitely say that this probably has more upside left. There is no two ways about it, and one could still invest in spite of the negativity on the overall index. That's the only challenge, that the overall index going down could drag down all stocks. You can't avoid that. So we'll just have to wait and watch. But Bajaj Auto done a 15% up move. Of course, we didn't foresee that, but that it was a buy rather than a sell, I think, was very clear. Okay. Uh, and what is Bajaj Auto doing today? It is very flat, very interesting, right? Just 0.1% down. Just shows you the strength. So in spite of the Nifty being down, uh, by 63 points now, Bajaj Auto remains quite flat at 2300. Okay, so 2300 is going to remain a psychological mark for Bajaj Auto. Plenty of support at 2250, I would say, and at lower levels you don't want to be shorting this, and you want to just keep buying this. And if any more good news comes out, then definitely higher at 2500 would be the next target on Bajaj. I'm just going to drag this to my other screen uh, and put some of the really good opportunities here. I think Bajaj Auto buys, target 2500. All right. Right. Okay. Then we've got to see Hero Motors. So that also broke out. Actually, didn't have a divergence like we saw in Bajaj, but this is exactly what can happen sometimes. Hero Motors, very interestingly, poised at a very important level of 2650, right? It has jumped up and then it's gone up, but again, the volumes are really, really not good at all. So this would definitely be a high risk buy, in my opinion. And today, what is Hero Motors doing as we speak? It is actually down 0.7%, 20 rupees down almost at 258. So unless 2650 is breaking out, I would say this might actually even be a short, or best not to do anything in this. But look at it, a shorting candidate, below 2670 would be a very good stop loss for a short, would easily fall back to 2500. Okay. And then looking at M&M. So M&M results, like Balki mentioned, on the way, you can see the volumes really not going anywhere, and I wouldn't expect M&M to actually do much till the results are out. I think the best thing, very nice, you can see the consolidation that's happening, higher lows, lower highs. This is typical of the wait and watch approach to the market, which happens, sometimes before results. And where is it right now? It's 0.1%, 0.9% up at around 1273, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So it seems to have broken out of that level. Not sure if it's been supported by volumes, but the best thing to do would be, especially given I don't know when the result is. Is it before expiry or after expiry, Balki? Any idea? Would be to do a 1250 straddle, long straddle on M&M and ride it either which way. So the symmetrical triangle broke down, but didn't reach the target. It's formed a sort of bowl or saucer here, back to 1250, and could be headed back to 1400. So I'm going to make a note of that. And then 1250 long
It looks like it's after expiry.
after expiry. Okay, fine. Then
It's on Friday. I think
just okay, fine. So then, well, I guess one just takes the June contracts, right? Plenty of time for that. Or you want to, I think, or they're 25th. Or today they're launching the new, I think, facelifted XUV 500, and they're introducing a higher version of it, the W10. The highest version is W8. W10 is a lakh more expensive, so they are actually quite happy with the success of the XUV, obviously. And I mean, that's just one minor thing. It's a vehicle that's been doing extremely good for them, and that Japanese tie-up is something that might. I don't know if it's been taken note of the market, whether it has something to do with this move here. Quite possibly, because this happened sometime around this time only. When did I say this? Last week, correct? Yeah. And this up move could have been associated with that. Not seeing anything in the volumes though. Okay? But from a long-term perspective, excellent joint venture that they have. So from a, I think, fundamental perspective, this company continues to go from strength to strength, and we'll see. Right? Okay. Then we have Maruti. So that company is just doing well. The XU Cross XVA or some code name that they have. It will be like the Ford EcoSport, is going to be launched sometime. It's gone back to this 3750 and just stuck there. I don't know if the results are out, and maybe these are the results time. Not sure if Balki can confirm or you can check later. We should really put that result calendar together. And I think once it breaks 3750, then definitely much higher. Once it crosses 3900, then 4000 should not be a problem at all, right? Okay. Wouldn't really look be short at this point, but on the other hand, I would be cautiously long. you never know. We look at this on a weekly basis. You can see the MACD has done a very, very nice negative dead crossover sometime in December of last year, and still sort of rounding. So I'm wondering whether, and you've got a very nice negative divergence on the RSI, which could mean nothing, but from a weekly, from a multi-month perspective, could one has to keep in mind and ask the question: could this be a rounding top that is going to take another few months to form? And if that is a rounding top that takes another, let's say, 2, 3, maybe 4 months to form, I would say from here 1, 2, 3. And if that's the peak, then another 1, 2, 3. And so if you're talking about end of July, sometime August, this could be the trend line or the neckline rather, 3,400, and then we could easily fall to about maybe 3,000 after that. So longer term perspective, you're looking at a very clear topish potential formation. Okay, then on the short term, however, it could break out. You can now see the MACD, RSI, stochastic all very clearly negative in terms of weekly, but in terms of daily, one could be doing a long term, sorry, a long trade for the next few, I don't know, days or a couple of weeks. Next is Tata Motors. So, well, that's clearly weak, unlike its siblings in the auto sector. I think the place to watch will be the current price, 200-day moving average, really, really stuck there. Okay. And we are at, it's 1% down at 509. Tempted to say it's going to go down to 500 easily, especially if the results are out, then there's really nothing to look forward to. No strength on any of the indicators either. Would be short on Tata Motors to 500, and 500 breaks, then 487, and then especially if this level breaks, then we are definitely headed to 450. Okay. All right. So that is auto, and apart from I think Bajaj Auto and maybe M&M, everything else is negative, and especially Maruti multi-month potential rounding top is something to keep in mind. All right. Next, we come to cement. So we start with ACC, and I think all the cement stocks are right now down. 1497. All right. So ACC came to an oversold zone on MACD, started to show strength, was going up, but again was going up on really, really poor volumes, as you can clearly see. And this is where the whole question of bull trap is what I'm going to keep asking. Came to 1550, and it is right now down 1.5% almost at 1497. So from that high, see how that high, today's high is 1523. It went to not even that high, 1541, and has corrected down and is probably headed to 1500 in my opinion over the next, if not today. Today's low was 1488, and could be going back lower to 1450. Again, you can see the very tentative head and shoulder top bottom. Again, you can see this move up happen on not convincing volumes at all, right? So that is something to keep in mind. And I think we're going to see this happen again and again, right? So it goes up into 1550, now back below 1500, broke this whole bunch of moving averages there, plus the 200-day moving average there, where it probably took support today, and could be down back to 1400. Let's put a downtrend line here. How come I missed it? I think I can now put that quite confidently, and that will be clearly the level to watch out for what happens from there. Okay, so ACC negative, I would say 1420, and a very good stop loss at around 1560 on ACC. Then we look at Ambuja. Ambuja also down today. Wow, it's down 3.6%, 8 rupees 75 paisa down, and was trying to go back up 50-day, 100-day moving average, and is now at 232. That's a big red candle, guys. 232 is somewhere here, no, even lower. 232 is there. That's a huge red candle. 200-day moving average also broken right there. I would say one could even short it intraday right now, not intraday, long term. Good shorting opportunity till 225, it is my opinion. And if 225 breaks, yeah, I think 225 just psychological number. If 225 breaks, then easily in steps of 5 to 220, 215, 210, and we just reevaluate. So any up move, again, this up move happening on poor volumes, as you can see. Okay, so then that brings us to Grasim. So if you look at Grasim and what has Grasim done today? It's down 1.4%, and that's at 3588. So Grasim already had this dark cloud cover on Friday, continuing down at where is it now? 3588. So it has come to approximately that level. So just at the cluster of moving averages, as you can see, but I would think it's expected to come down to at least here, the 200-day moving average, which is at 2530. So again, you can see the poor volumes on its way up. Good resistance here at 3700. Good stop loss above that, but right now I would gun for 3500, and before that 3520 on Grasim. Then we have Ultratech, and Ultratech is down 1% at 2946. So that Ultratech had a nice confirmatory evening star now, we could say, correct? Clearly, it has uh, confirmed that evening star with this fall today, and I would say it's headed to 2850 in my opinion. So it is at 2946 right now, which means it is approximately there. So not a very big fall, but still continuing to move back down. And this is the only, well, then I guess this one should not be shorted. It went up on some really good volumes. Ultratech should not be shorted. ACC Ambuja, however, Ambuja seems to be the better short, should be shorted. Grasim also should be shorted. So please still maybe Ultratech is a better wait and watch, but generally sectors do plan out. Mm, this is really tough, very mysterious. Why I'm saying this is because you've seen generally overall rising volume for March, April, May weekly chart, and in that you have both a down move and an up move. So is it falling on high volume or is it going up on high volumes? It's both, and that's well, at least as far as I'm concerned, I get confused, and it's best to stay away from such stocks. A lot of activity probably happening in the back end or the background that we could perhaps not discern. So just stay out of high risk. Okay, so that's Ultratech. So we finished cement. So in cement, clearly ACC and Ambuja are the shorts, right? Um, Ambuja short. I think Ambuja is the one you could short intraday and hold on for tomorrow day after also. Ultratech, stay away. All right. Okay. Uh, Next we look at a mix actually. Let's look at what is called the construction and all that group, but the way it's classified NSE makes it little funny because we tend to miss out on some, so we need to. I'm just checking because sometime last time we did, there was one stock which was okay. So first we do LNT. So LNT results, like Balki said, are awaited. That will be important to wait and watch. So there's event risk there again, going up on low volumes. If the results are bad, this could really tank a lot. Remember that. I think for now we have a resistance of 1688. Till then, nothing will happen. LNT down 1.5% at 1629 as we speak. So 1593 is where the 200-day moving average is. It's like corrected quite a bit today. Again, this trend line, if you put it, it had sort of crossed that, but on poor volumes, and now the correction. And are we headed back on LNT to 1500? Who knows? Quite possible. Okay, again, not a head and shoulder because of the sideways move before that, but the point of the head and shoulder is that it gives you that whole um, um, sense of distribution that tends to happen in the market. So maybe this is down to 1500. Wait and watch. In this, we should have BHEL. Okay, so BHEL very range bound. One could say actually very vague head and shoulder bottom that is going on, but given the overall weakness in the market, I would say be really careful of jumping into it. And as we speak, BHEL is down 0.4%. It's come to uh, 233 rupees, so it is well more or less there only. So just leave it, wait and watch. Okay, then let's do consumer goods. So that is FMCG plus consumer goods together. We look at Asian Paints. So notice how Asian Paints, after having such an impressive run up from almost 2001 and 2008, it's like gone up what in the last 10 years, 16 rupees to 775 rupees. Who would have imagined? But an amazing rally, no doubt, is now I think more or less just going sideways. It needs to digest these gains. There's a lot that needs to happen. I'm guessing that there was some result here sometime middle of the month, and though it went up, but really got sold back into it. Really tough to say. This is one of the things with event trading. You can get a result, you can get an event. You could expect the market to. So I'm just using this as an example. No, where is that? Something happened here very clearly would have said breakout, right? The volume picture will disappear, so unfortunately. So on this move on that day, it would have been a high volume thing. And if you were running a scanner or a filter, you would be you're perfectly right in saying you should buy it. You would have bought it, but in the next 2 days, it basically gave you a big loss, and now it is just doing a consolidation. This is a good example of some of those trades which will just not go in the way in quotes they should, and that's the nature of the markets. So in Asian Paints, I would say at this point, wait and watch. Don't do anything. Okay. Hindustan Unilever sideways again, going nowhere. I think stuck really. Uh, is it HUL down 1% at 850, right? So again, you can see the low volume on the up move. This is why, again, the question of bull trap, this downtrend line, perfect, seems to have just gone there. On Friday, you got a hanging man pattern, and today you're seeing some sort of a reversal that is happening today. Probably headed back to 840, maybe even 830, and a very good stop loss would be around 867. Then let's look at ITC. So ITC in well, symmetrical triangle, or sorry, a descending triangle, that will be too long, but if you just took it from there and you put on a different trend line, say from there to there, you could have a valid descending triangle. And guess what? It's down 3%. by almost 10 rupees at 319. So it has just fallen here. And I want to emphasize this whole thing about longer term trends. If you just paid respect to that and listen to what the charts might be telling us, then it comes. This would be the outermost trend line if you wanted it. It comes somewhere close to that, not exactly perhaps, and then just goes long in that longer term trend. And again, you can see you can't. There's no really great volume. All your indicators are either in the very neutral zone, or MACD is maybe a little bit on the negative zone. So the overwhelming body of evidence is down. You can put a weekly chart and you can see that it has really no strength, and you can see this huge weekly candle, uh, clearly bearish sentiment versus very weak green candles on the weekly chart. So where is the sentiment? Look at the MACD on the weekly chart, clearly, just going down. This whole thing of getting a sense of positional movements and how positional time frames over multiple weeks, months, and how those larger trends eventually impact the everyday price. They may not look like that on a short term, but if you look at the bigger, and then wait patiently for those low risk, high return levels to arrive, put alerts, and then trigger the trade. So, well, ITC 4% down, probably headed to 3.5% down, sorry, 316, and even lower. Then we have, yeah, that's it, right? So everything in FMCG is just being beaten down, right? Uh, FMCG all down, weak uptrends, bull trap for sure, further weakness to be expected. All right, then we will come to energy and we will start with BPCL. And in this, we've got so as we know, petrol and diesel prices have gone up by approximately 10% in the last 1 month. And of course, now that it's a free market thing, one would not expect much of an impact on all that on the performance. And if MRPL is any indicator, then who knows what we could expect in the coming few weeks on many of the other ONGC stocks. But oil and gas stocks. But BPCL is right now 1.7% up. It's up by 13 rupees, and it's at 795. Right, it's almost at 800. It's something that we have been seeing quite a long. Look at that. I've put 795 at that level, that white line, and you can see how this is a level that has been sort of tested a lot, it seems, in the last several weeks. You can see the lows here being tested, you can see the highs here being tested, not 800 but 795, and this is looking like a flag, you know uh, though not really great on the volumes. There is definitely a slackening off in this. That's good. And if this breaks out 795, then I think clearly 830 is easily coming, right? There's something about how many. 8.3. Hmm. So we'll probably do average volumes. It's already done 8.3 lakhs. And now we are at 8.7 lakhs is the 10-day average. So one of the things we've been talking about oil and gas is that from a long-term perspective, ever since the deregulation happened, these are probably good stocks for the multi-year sort of investor, at least over the next 1 or 2 months. They should constantly improve in their efficiencies, in their profits, and probably be, who knows, 50, 100% higher. This could easily be a 1,000 rupee stock in 6 months to a year, in my opinion. It's just 800 now. We're talking about 20, 25% upside. Okay, then let's look at Kane. So that should have bottomed out, but it hasn't. That's very interesting. And Kane has actually done 52-week low. It's down 1%, or sorry, 0.7% at 195 today. And this is, wow, clearly broken that 195 level. and is perhaps going down lower. I'm surprised because crude oil has actually crept up a bit, and if this is the case, then this is possibly going down to much lower levels. 184, and then who knows, maybe even 163. 184, 163. Kane, interesting. So, in spite of a strengthening crude oil, this is actually not showing any strength at all. Well, technically also there was no strength. I was just guessing talk in terms of crude oil, but looks like the fall is getting accelerated, and very good stop loss above 202, 203, and I think further down moves clearly till who knows, 184 could be on the cards. But a little wary about this, only because at some point it might just turn around because of fundamental factors. Okay. All right. It's interesting that in spite of a stronger crude, Kane is not able to actually go up. Okay, look at Gale. So it's just in the broad basket of energy. Gale has, wow, clearly one thing it has very obviously done is it has clearly broken out of a downtrend. It's clearly broken out of a downtrend, and not done that on good volumes at all, unfortunately. The downtrend itself has been relatively higher volumes. It has hit 410, and who knows, there is this 400 rupees tweezer stop. You have the 100-day moving average there, and right today, Gale is Gale. It's down 1.25 at 392. Okay. Given this whole thing, I think 385 is possible. Short stop loss at around 403, 404 with a target of 385 on Gale is possible. I know it's broken out of the downtrend line, but the volumes are really uninspiring. And unless there's some, hmm, okay, interesting. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm going to take that call back, because you have an MACD potential golden crossover here, even though it's in the negative zone. And from here, who knows, it could go back up to 450. Patience will be the key here, and so I'm retracting the short call with a long call, and looking at the larger perspective. Uh, a really good stop loss on the long side would actually be below 385 only. 410 is going to be very significant resistance, and probably be best to wait for 410 breakout to happen. But once that happens, then 420 and then 440, 450 are distinct possibilities on Gale. Be good to review what the stock is doing fundamentally to, I think, get a sense of what this could be. Nice to call this a flag, but the volumes are the big concern now. Very iffy. But when I went back to the weekly, saw the strength. That's why I'm making this a long call and not a short call. All right. So that's Gale. Then we have NTPC. All a mixed bag. It's all is oil and gas, some is thermal, all different policies sometimes, and that. Okay. NTPC. So right now down 0.6% at 134, has been falling vertically, literally. Uh, really no strength at all. And look at this. This red candles volume have disappeared right now. So the question is, does it take support on this? I would just say I think just stay away from this. Maybe it comes to 125, but the low volumes are showing some is a concern there, and this could come down to a support level here, 130, even say 128, and turn back up. If the overall market gets weak, then definitely this is headed much lower. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Okay. Just skipping NTPC. and then we do power grid. Yeah, comp really taking time today. Okay. Hmm. And power grid is up. Okay, so first stock up today in the energy side. Power grid up. 200-day moving average is the key support resistance drama that's going on. Really iffy. MACD might be doing a crossover. It would have done with today's value. Weekly MACD not doing anything that significant. I would say stay away. I think at best it's got a top end of 145. Actually, as a matter of fact, if it goes to 145, I would think one could short it with a stop loss at 147, 146, 147. There's actually the upper Bollinger Band also coming to a resistance play there, and could possibly be down after that. And I need to put this downtrend line definitely and see how that pans out. Okay, so that is power grid, and we find okay. Then we have Reliance and Tata Power. So Reliance, a few IMRs back, I said might be a good from an investment perspective at 850. It's at 900 now, and as we speak, Reliance is down 0.8%, 7 rupees down at 896. The question is how is it doing on the volume side, right? And again, these volumes are not good, just in line with the rest of the market. And if 896 is struggling with that, here's the 200-day moving average. Here is the 900 rupee multi-month or multi-year resistance, right? On the weekly chart is where the real picture is, in my opinion. It has clearly bottomed out MACD wise, and only volume is the big issue. From a long term, when I say long term, multi month perspective, Reliance could be really turning around technically. And fundamentally, I think I mentioned this Reliance Retail or something, cash flow positive. Reliance Jio is likely to launch in the next few weeks, months. Oh yeah, there was one news item I read about 1 GB data from Reliance Jio, 4G speed will be offered at 2G rates at 100 rupees or less. That's going to be a completely transformative move in the telecom industry, and it'll be really interesting to see how the rest of the companies respond to that. And uh, well, that's it. I mean, nothing much more to say. So Reliance Jio capex over. Remember that Reliance Retail doing well. So from a fundamental perspective, maybe we should be buying Reliance stock for at least our spot portfolios and not look too much at this day to day or week to week fluctuations on Reliance. Having said that, some of us are just traders by habit. I just put that, and who knows, this could be the start of a uptrend in RIL. The 200-day moving average is right there, just to make it really little clear. Once it breaks out, the 950 is definitely a possibility, but right now it's wait and watch. The concern is definitely on account of uh, volumes, and on the weekly chart Wow, I just noticed something on the weekly chart. If you look at Reliance, the whole of 2009 to now, MACD is really done nothing in terms of going anywhere. This shows you how underperforming the stock has been over the last 6 years, whereas the Nifty has done well. And who knows? I'm just thinking aloud. This could be setting itself up for a period of sustained outperformance on the Nifty. And if that happens, then Reliance is definitely a stock to consider being in spite of weakness everywhere else. Reliance itself up for a sustained outperformance, both just putting down the notes technically and fundamentally. Geo and retail capex. Okay. And when you say sustained outperformance, I'm talking about next, who knows, several years, at least 2, 3, 4 years. Okay. I think if you were doing something like the following trade as a hedge, short, where is it? Short the Nifty and go long on RIL for 2 to 3 years. I think you might just end up making money on that. Right? It will be good to track it and see. Okay, so I don't know why that's classified under energy, but still, since it's there, we did that. Then I think Tata Power is going out of the index, but it's as since it's still there, sometime end of the month or something. I don't know what's coming in. Idea is already in, I think. Yes. All right. So Tata Power,
I think it's going out of Sensex, not Nifty.
not Nifty. Oh, okay, fine. Thanks for that, Balki. All right. So Tata
I think Lupin is coming into Sensex.
into Sensex, is it? Okay.
It's coming into Sensex.
All right. Okay. So Tata Power down 1.5% at 74.75, and well, so 75 makes it that psychological mark sort of thing, and it's just sitting there. Not much happening. Could come down to 72, and then after that, okay, no. Interesting. At least there's some volume activity here on Tata Power. Any idea if this is results or anything? Not sure. So it's actually gone up on some good volumes in the last week, coming down on clearly low volumes. Might actually be a good place to buy, but I think that's a little iffy only because it's overall market is weak. But things like RBI policy, something happened about the coal thing. There's some controversy. I think some of the companies thinking of suing the government or something like that. Not sure what's going on there. So, but yeah, 75 could be a good support. Stop loss for a spot is unfortunately quite low at around 71 and below, but for a trader maybe 74.50, 74.30, and then it could go up. But overall, the moving averages are still pointed down, so it is a high risk long. You might be better off just waiting on that, right? So done. So we have done. Come to Tata Power, and let me do one thing, guys. Let me stop here. Right, I will do something. One sec.